Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with Prism, I'll try not to be too esoteric about things that we've done before or whatever. I'll try to make it clear. For those of you who are familiar with Prism, and maybe you were on the last Zoom call I did with Chris and Oz, which was quite a while ago. We built a house this year, so it was rather, this past year was rather all-consuming. We've had a great pattern we call triple treat. And it's called triple treat because there's 3 different patterns within the little booklet, all using the same ingredients. And that was this very fun scarf with lots of different stitch patterns. And this version of it was a refresh, but lots of great fun. And I redid it in a new colorway and then made another new pattern that we're now calling the Dynamic Duo. So the redo of it was to do some brighter colors. And if I get closer, does that help, Oz?
Yeah, you can see the colors. So as everybody's noticed, for some reason, Zoom is squashing the video quality, but you can get a good idea of the beauty of the colors in there.
And of course, part of the fun of doing this with me is that because I know I get these questions all the time, well, how do I wear that? This is a very long scarf that's also very wide. It doesn't have to be this long, but certainly it is perfectly adaptable to just do a twice round. And it's generous enough that it'll stay that way. But of course, you can get kind of artsy and put like a leather, oops, this is a leather shawl cuff here on it, and that just secures it even further. Or you can get, this is one of my favorite ways to wear a very long scarf like this. So you double it, roughly, the ends roughly the same. And you all know this, right? You just put your hand through and you grab the tail and there you have it. Well, what I don't care for in this is how big this gets right here. So instead, what I do is put my hand through and grab just one of the tails. Okay, and this is where I put my hand through. Now I'm going to turn this loop and I'm going to put my hand through in the other direction and bring it. And essentially, I've just made a little weave. And now, see how much flatter that is here? So I like that better. You always have the option with something like this of adding, this is just a cool little shawl pin. That's kind of fun to add in, whether it's actually attaching anything or not. These shawl pins are so beautiful, and I know Chris and Oz must have plenty of them, that it's just a nice piece of jewelry. So this pattern, Dynamic Duo, contains the remake of this with solid colors instead of the multicolors that we've had in the past. But the real prize in this Dynamic Duo is this long arched scarf, which I folded. Okay, that's the back, and that's the front. It's long and arced and asymmetrical. So you're looking at the wrong side there. It's the right side here. And what's really fun about this, again, there's numerous ways to wear it. The ends will do this lovely little kind of curl thing. Just encourage it a little bit. So you get it seated on your shoulders and it goes around and around. And because it's arced, this is why I have to be able to see myself in the screen. Because it's arced, it lays very nicely on your shoulders. Now, if you really start with the front very limited, you can go around a couple of times and it does a rather astounding thing in the back. So give me a moment here.
It's like tying your shoes in the mirror.
Yes. There we go. Okay, and what I love is that it layers the back. And you really get to see all the different pattern stitches and what's going on with that. And this is a combination of our Petite Madison, which is a merino and silk blend, Radiant Petite Madison, which is the same thing with a little tiny bit of metallic thread in it, and Shimmerati, which is a sequined yarn. So it's just one skein of each. It's three ingredients. And this color 1 here, this is very, very similar to what's here. Not identical, but very similar. And the reason these colors are labeled is because all 3 of these yarns have been discontinued. There's no more left to dye. So I have things on the shelf that I can go around and make beautiful combinations of, but I can't necessarily make them infinitely. So if 3 people want this one, I'm sure I can do 3. But we're calling them unique colorways, and if you wish to purchase any of them, it will be color 1, color 2, color 3, color 4. Okay.
So Laura, let me show this on our website. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Great. Okay, everybody, I'm going to our website now. So if you go to your favorite website in the world, CambriaYarn.com, go to kits. Under Prism kits, there's a Prism April 2023. And if you click on that, you'll see all the pieces that we're going to show today. In the middle of there is called Dynamic Duo. So this is the piece that she was just showing. These colors are available. And you can just order those up. If you want one of these custom colors, and we'll go back to show you those, order any of these, but when you're checking out in the notes field, put that you want to do color 1. And we'll try to make notes of that here as well. But if anybody wants that, make a note of that. It'd be great to maybe put it in chat as well as place an order.
I was just going to say, putting it in chat is a really good idea. And as we get further along, Chris and Oz might say to me, okay, number 1 is claimed. And we'll put your name right on it and set it aside so that we can make sure that you get the one that you want. So just to finish looking at the colors, this one is pretty stunning. So it's the sequin yarn is in the middle, and the sparkly yarn is on the right.
Well, that's beautiful. I love the black and white with the red. That's just spectacular.
Really strong jewel tones with a sparkly fuchsia. I think that would be stunning. This is a very nice deep navy. Got more jewel tones. This one is going to be very similar to this. Not exact. And this one is a deep rich.
Oh, beautiful.
So I'm going to take just a second here and point out to you what some of the differences are in how these read. So you can see me now and see me from a distance. And there's quite a bit of contrast in the 2 colors in this particular piece. So you see the pattern a lot. Okay, does that help if I get real close?
Oh yeah, now I can see it a little much better.
So you can really see that there's a lot of pattern in this. Now, if you take colors like this one, where there's not as much contrast in the colors, you get more of something that looks like this. So you're not quite as aware of the pattern stitching, but when you get further back, it looks more like one rich colorway as opposed to showcasing the pattern. So it's one of my maxims. If you've ever taken my color courses, you know that I say you want pattern to show. If you want pattern to be the main focus, then you want contrasting colors. If you want it to be more of a subtle color story, then you want colors that are close together. See the difference?
Yeah, it's striking.
Yes. So lots of contrast. Much smaller amounts of contrast. Okay, so the contrasting ones here would be this one, and this one. And the less contrasting colors are here. And when I say and this has a lot of contrasting colors, but not as much light and dark. And it's the light and dark that I'm really concerned with. So not as much contrast there. And of course, what I started with, not as much contrast there.
So we have a question. What kind of stitches are in the pattern?
They're all based on 4-stitch repeats, so they're very easy stitches to learn. There are a lot of slip stitches and combinations of knit and purls, so nothing very difficult.
Great. Karen, I hope that answered your question.
Okay.
Great, she says. Great. Anybody else? Any questions? Anybody want to jump in on one of these limited edition colors or one of the ones on the website?
We do have photographic evidence of which trio is which color. So
and I can show the let me show the item. So there's some of the pictures like Laura was talking about. You can see the patterning. There's the contrast. That's a really neat piece. And then there are some that are available on the site. And then the 1 through 6, let us know what you want. And then if
if there's more than one, we'll do our best.
Okay.
We might have to make a little substitution, but we'll do our best if more than one wants them.
Okay, we got someone who wants to.
Okay.
Let me send her a note back.
I want. So I'm going to take that one out of the mix.
So if you order any color, just pick any of the other colors if you can. And then in the comments field, put that you'd like number 2. And the other piece is in, you sent a direct message to us, which is perfect that you want that. Send me your email in direct message, and then I'll send you a link directly to the page on the website.
Great. Okay. We can revisit these at the end of the session as well. If anybody, because I can understand, if I were you, I'd want to see what else is coming up before I committed to anything, unless you see something that you just, yes, I love that, gotta have it. So let me just put these in an organized way that I retrieve them. All right. And oops, stay in there. Okay. We're going to move on to one of my very favorite yarns. This is called Symphony. And if you've never knit with Symphony, it truly is a symphony of merino, cashmere, and nylon. And the nylon is 10%. It's not noticeable in the feel. The cashmere is noticeable in the feel. What the nylon helps to do is this yarn is some of the springiest, easiest to knit on yarn you've ever had. And because of that spring in the twist of it, it runs a full gamut of needle sizes. So what we're going to show you now is I'm very big on having multiple ways, multiple patterns or multiple styles. When I hit on something that I think is working, then I like to do something that's a variation on it. So this particular set is called the Seasons jacket and pullover. So both patterns are included in the pattern. This is an on-trend boxy jacket with a very narrow sleeve, okay? And the point about the very narrow sleeve, is that it's pretty good size. In order to lay properly without buttons or a closure, see how nicely it lays? It's not doing this. If you make a jacket that is simply 3 or 4 inches of ease beyond your hips, that's what it's going to do. So this is probably, I'll be honest, my hips are 42. This is probably 50 or more inches around. So there's a lot more ease. In order to keep it looking tailored and neat, the sleeves are narrow. Okay, if the sleeves are narrow, the sleeves are big, you just look like you're wearing something that's too big for you. If the sleeves are narrow, it shows more of what your real size is. So your sleeves should be as comfortable as you want them to be. In other words, if you're always going to wear it over blousey sleeves, well, then obviously the sleeve has to be bigger. But if you're wearing it over a short sleeve dress like I am right now, or even a narrow turtleneck, cotton turtleneck sort of a thing, then your sleeve doesn't have to be so big and baggy. So these are truly, this is painting with yarn. What I'm wearing is autumn. We call it the Seasons because there are 4 colorways. What I'm wearing is autumn. This is summer. They are done in a half linen stitch. And that half linen stitch is what helps you to blend the colors and make them look exquisitely beautiful. I can't talk and do this at the same time. Trying to get the 2 other colorways out here. And of course, I didn't set them up properly. So there you go. Thought I did, but I think I need to do that. This is winter. Beautiful melange of neutrals. Not dead neutrals, there's a little bit of gold in there. There's a little bit of plum in there. There's a little bit of soft mauve. There's some rust. Other than that, it's browns and what you would consider neutrals. All right. This one is spring. And it starts out with, the sort of the stormy days when the rain is coming. And it winds up being all kinds of light, bright blue sky and warm olivey green and springy colors. So we have autumn, summer, winter, and spring. So it's 16 colors. There's 1 skein of each. Both the pullover and the jacket are worked in one piece to the armholes. Pullover is worked in the round. The jacket is worked back and forth to the armholes and then split. And notice the finishing on each of these is, I'm gonna stop and push it forward to the camera in the hopes that you can see this. It's a beautiful, beautiful collar band that uses all the colors in really quick order. So you get that beautiful sense of the colors moving. And the same thing happens on the neckline of this. And this is done in one of my favorite techniques, besides half linen stitch, The way that the colors move is that you're always working one row at a time of 3 colors. Now that sounds really scary, and I would suggest being on a circular needle. You have to for this one, but even on this one, just because there's so many stitches, but you don't get confused. You cast on with A, you drop it, you attach B, and you work one row. You drop it, you attach C, and you work one row. When you get there, A is waiting for you. So except for the first few colors where, you know, A is not going to get used as many times as C, for example, it goes A, B, C for a while, and then it goes B, C, D for a while, and then it goes C, D, E for a while. And that's what gives you this really incredible gradation of the colors. And essentially, you're using almost all of each color. The instructions tell you how much to use eventually. Of course, there has to be stuff saved for the sleeves to match. It's all in the pattern, I promise you. And there's enough in the pattern. There's enough in this kit to do an extra large or an extra XL. I forget. Oz, you might want to show them this on the website because I think that information is there.
I think it is. So let me do that very thing. So here's everything. And again, under that kits, Prism kits, Prism April 2023. And I put the link to this, the season's jacket, in the chat. So you can see each of the different colorways. There's the winter. There's autumn, spring, and summer. No, it doesn't say specifically. So I don't have all that information.
Okay, it does go. It goes at least to an XL. And if it doesn't go further, you only need one more skein of yarn to make it go bigger. We just have to adjust the, we have to add it at the beginning or the end of an extra one at the beginning or the end, which we can do. This is your opportunity to have absolutely bespoke kits, a project that is exactly what you want. And while this was my concept to do it as a seasons, there's no reason I can't do any number of other kinds of colors if that's something that you would like. And Chris and Oz are always willing to be the go-between to me for us to make something that's exactly what you want. So feel free to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely reach out to us. Yes, Laura's been distracted with building a house. We've been distracted with selling a store.
And we're all in a good place right now. So
we are. Everything is fabulous. So yes, and we're happy to work with Laura, with you, and then with Laura to get what it is, any combinations that you want. And again, like I said, the link to the season's jacket is in the chat, so you can go right from there and you'll see all the colors. Her jackets are just great. They lay great. Everybody looks good in them. It's a real stellar design. Laura's been doing this for more than 2 years.
Yeah, just a few. Vary how long I've been doing it. And just so you can see, the pullover is not quite as oversized. It doesn't need to be, because you're not trying to have it hang properly in the front. So that it's just more fitted. Still has relatively narrow sleeve.
Into my picture.
But that's my preference. You always have the option to make a larger sleeve. Just use the armhole depth of the next size pattern. I mean, that's an easy custom adjustment that you can make for yourselves. So nice, neat. What did I do on these sleeves? Oh, they're the modified drop sleeves. with a slight curve at the top of the cap. So you notice when you put your arms down, you don't wind up with a huge wad of fabric right here, which is what happens when they just go out like that. So, okay.
I learned that in the very first class I ever took at one of our trade shows was you and Barry about getting things to fit. And both of you apologize to everybody if you knit one of our old designs from way back when everybody had sweaters that worked like that.
You know, the ones that look great on a dowel hanging in the store, right? Because the sleeves come straight out like this and it's flat on the shoulder. Looks great on the dowel. Doesn't look so good when you put your arms down. So, yeah, got to always be trying to make something better.
That's right.
Okay, are there any questions about our seasons? All right.
And while we're doing that, I'm going to put up the link to the dynamic duo in the chat as well. There. All right.
All right. So now we're going to revisit two old friends. On the site for a long time has been a poncho we call to the point or on the edge. It's kind of been called various things, but I think on the edge is what we were calling it.
On the edge is what we know it as.
Yes. Okay, perfect. On the edge. It's on the edge. And the colors ways that we did for it initially were all chroma colors, and our chroma line, which you can explore on the site as well. The chroma line, the colors are all a little, I don't want to say grayed, but they're a little mixed, little muted. So I just redid this in really pure, clear jewel tones. So we called this colorway Bejeweled and added it in. And like the other ones, it's totally different on the other side. So depending on what you're wearing, you can obviously wear either side in front of you. But I have found that my favorite way to wear this now is like this. And I particularly, we had some dichroic glass pieces, so we put them on. They're not functioning as buttons, they're just decoration. They're just sewn on. And that either marches down your shoulder or in this case down the front. But I really like this. I wear this a lot in Florida. These next two pieces I'm really showing because I found that I wear them so much in Florida that I'm thinking that other people kind of need to see it the way that I'm seeing it. I wear it in Florida because our winter days are like your fall days, or a lot of fall days. You know, it could easily be just in the 50s or 60s. And like those of you who live in more temperate climates, you all hate to put your air conditioning on. We can't stand putting our heat on unless we absolutely have to. And then the rest of the year, everything here is over air conditioned. So you often need to have something to pop on over your shoulders. And this has turned out to be just a really excellent piece to do that. So really all that's new about this is this particular colorway.
So let me do the same thing. I put the link to the website for the On the Edge poncho. Let me show you that on the website. You can see all the great colors. So there it is. That's the new bejeweled color. And then these are other vintage, we'll call them, colorways. Yeah,
Great.
it's just a beautiful piece.
It really is. And for the amount of luxury that you're getting in the knitting, it's it's actually it's a really good price. So,
Very.
okay, so there's that one. And this is another vintage piece that, can it be vintage if it's only a year old?
After the last 3 years, anything longer than 6 months feels like forever.
Yeah. So this is another piece that I found myself wearing all year long, all winter long here. This is the chroma colors, and it runs through 7 chroma colors in a row. So I think we have pictures of 2 different colorways on there. But I also, in the last Zoom session I did, pulled one for someone that's goes from black to light gray through all the shades of, and that's going to look spectacular. So this is just kind of the perfect piece. And what I found is that every time I wear it, and I have multiple dresses that it looks good over, they're all, I mean, I have a plum one, and I have this couple in navy, and I've got some black. And I always wind up putting some kind of a brooch here, because it just kind of really lends itself to a stunning piece that's right here. And if you're like me and the air conditioning bothers you, this neckline is fabulous because it's up around your neck. There's like nothing back here that's being exposed. Another one that's really great. It's a nice focal point. It would be great with a big necklace on it as well. And because it's up around your neck, a necklace is going to lay properly the way that it should. So this is, again, 7 colors of symphony leading one to another. You start here, you go down, and you just knit till the end till the skein is gone. You just knit till the skein is gone until you get to the very last color, and then there's guidance on how to make sure you've got enough to do the I-cord bind off, which lets you have a nice stretchy bind off here. And this is corrugated rib up here, so it's stockinette and reverse stockinette until you get down to here. And when you start increasing, the increases are made with yarn overs, so you have these little eyelets that line up in kind of a wacky, kind of a spiral way. And then every time you're ready to change colors, it's a couple rows of garter stitch so that you have just a little texture in it. But every time I wear this, I think, I look good. This looks really nice. This is a really eye-catching, great piece. So that's called the Chroma Poncho.
And I put the link in the chat to the Chroma Poncho, and let me show that to you on the website again. In these fabulous colors.
And I will say that there are 2 sizes. The first one that I made is the one that's showing on this. We call it Blue Bayou, and it's a little bit longer and a little bit narrower. So unless you are a size small or lower, I would, a small or an extra small, I would highly recommend this size that I was wearing, which is a little bit wider and a little bit shorter. So it's the same amount of yarn, but it gives you more breathing room this way. And I didn't think that this needed to be any longer than it is. So the one that's, the best laid plans, you make a plan and then you knit it and then you say, well, how could it have been better? And my idea about how it could have been better was to make it the same amount of yarn, wider. I have, pretty good ability to do anything now, and shorter, which is okay because the other one was down about here. So longer and narrower, it's even more constrained, and this is kind of perfect. But again, you can always get an 1/8 skein of yarn.
Laura, the color, we got a question. The color you're wearing, which one?
Firelight.
That's Firelight. Okay.
Anything else there? Any other questions?
That's all I'm saying. So, so Trish, I'm sure you saw that. It's Firelight, which is, so if you go to that link, Firelight is one of the options. And you can order that up and it will wing its way to you.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And when Laura talks, you know, people are always surprised, you know, when people say, well, I live where it's warm. What was the new color for the on the edge poncho was bejeweled. Was the new color for the on the edge poncho. Are the size differences in the pattern for the chroma poncho?
Yes, both sizes are included.
Yes. Great. I think Claudia is going to have a list of projects to get.
That's good. We like that. Keeps us going. Keeps
That's
us
right.
to bring you new and exciting things.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
should we
But
move on? Should we move to some
sure.
new and exciting things?
But yet it's really fun when people say, well, I live where it's hot. And I go, yeah. And to your comment, in Florida, I have been in many places in Florida where I thought it was going to snow inside. They keep it so cold.
Yeah, it is so cold. It's ridiculous. I guess that their thinking is that people who are cold can always put on more clothing. But I
Right.
also think that a lot of it goes back to the air conditioning for men in suits. So they have long sleeve shirts on and then they have jackets on top of that.
Right.
And that's not the way women dress, but that's how businessmen dress. At any rate, wool, you shouldn't be afraid of wool. You know, if it's warm, or if it's moderate, I mean, if it's moderating, it's warm, it's cold, whatever, you know, wool, men's tropical weight suits are wool. They're just made out of much thinner yarn. Wool breathes. It's very, and Symphony is incredibly, it feels great on your skin. You know, there are a lot of wools I can't and won't wear, but Symphony is not one of them. I'm really happy with Symphony on my skin. It feels great.
Yeah. Cycling jerseys are merino wool.
There you go. And there you go.
Right.
All right. So our next set is something called Crest of the Wave. And this is a great fun piece that we put together. I forget how many colorways, just 4 colorways. Okay, so the color on my left is what's considered the main color in the kit. And that main color really just means the sleeves. So in a moment, I'll put these on and you can see how they look. All right, so those 4 colorways are on the site. And the sleeve is picked as just a color. Now, here's a place where I made a more kimono style sleeve. So it's a deeper, bigger sleeve, but it's only 3/4. So again, it's suiting the style of this jacket, which again is quite big around so that it hangs. It's not shaped in the front, so it's going to hang a little bit open, but that's suiting the style of it. This yarn is wild. All right, this yarn is a nylon, a white nylon core. And if you look at the very end of the yarn, I don't know if I can get this to, I can. I know, this is when Laura gets silly.
There we go.
So see, oh wait, here. See the little white dot in the middle?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's the end of the yarn there, where the tie is. Okay, so that little nylon cord, which is very, very lightweight spun nylon, makes the yarn round. And then it's a very fine cotton casing around that core. So it's quite a thick yarn. It knits up on an 11 needle. It's a very quick knit. And of course, anything that's knit on an 11 needle is going to be thicker, but it doesn't feel heavy when you put it on. So it's got a really fun, easy pattern called Crest of the Wave, which is just eyelets basically, and eyelets and knit two togethers and SSKs. There's not even that fancy do three together thing. Nope, it's pretty simple pattern. So initially we did it in these trios of colors. So this is this one, and the main color is here. This is would give you a much more subtle look. This is actually even brighter in a different way, but if you don't like green, this is fun with this as the main. And then this, which to me is just like an ocean thing. So either of these is going to be a much more subtle kind of thing. And just so you can see how it fits and how it's fun. And then it occurred to me not too long ago that it would be really great just in a solid color. So I picked this color right here, and we did that. And this is the next size larger, so you'll see that it's much bigger on me. So not everybody likes color as much as I do. Not everybody wants to be that flashy, but what a great toss on piece.
So that's great.
Yep.
So
And
if people wanted that, they could just contact us.
Yes.
And we, as we say, we can make that happen.
Yes.
So that you can have a single color of that kit.
So we've named each of these three colorways, and you can say the blue from Ocean, or the pink from whatever I called this. So you can, yes, or you can say the middle color from and use the name, and we can do it. And then you need one less skein of yarn, because obviously, you know, when you're doing stripes, multiple colors, you're always going to wind up with more left over, but you need the extra skeins because each color has to have enough. So with this one, it's one less skein for your size.
Okay. So yeah, so you would need to contact us, and I'm going to share the screen to show the Crest of the Wave, because everything that's on the screen, so this is the model that she was showing, creatively called Color One. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, that's the sizes. I'm sorry. That's Calypso, then Dawn. Oceanside. If anybody's in Oceanside, California, I think you have to have this. And if you want a solid color, contact us and we'll do the 2 kit pricing for you, and we'll get that all set up.
Yep. And actually, I consider this to be even more of a California piece, because I have been by your Pacific Ocean. I know how cold it is, even in the middle of the summer, in the evening and early in the morning, because the ocean is cold. It's your own little thermostat there. So this is a great, and it looks springy and summery. It's not a heavy wool sweater. It's got just its own funky kind of thing. So that, and you are the first people on the planet to see this one.
Oh, that's great.
Hot off the needles.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's true. All summer, we get a lot of people that come here who think they're coming to California. And then they run down and buy sweatshirts, and because it's the Central Coast.
Ask me how I know.
Right.
The desert is the same way. And when I first started coming to California, the same darn thing happened to me. We were in the desert it was in the winter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how cold it got? None.
Yeah.
So, been there.
Yes. Oh yeah, the desert in the winter gets very cold.
It does.
Yeah. I know, it's funny. It's true. As a longtime East Coaster, yes, that surprised me as well.
Yeah. So just as an aside, for anybody who wants a fabulous throw, and doesn't want it in wool, because that happens with a lot of people, this would be a spectacular throw, even in this pattern stitch. Just really great. We could figure that out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions about this? All righty.
And yes, and anybody that wants any of these custom things, certainly after the fact, you can send us an email. Of course, you know our email, info@cambriayarn.com. And we'll follow up with anything and everything.
And remember, the recording of this is available to you as well.
Yes.
So anything that you run a review, you have the ability to do that. And
Right.
I'm not anywhere, so
Yes,
you're gonna.
we will. Yeah, give us a few days to get the video massaged and sent out, but we are going to do that. And just assume we'll have technical issues because Mercury is retrograde.
Yes, and also assume that the picture isn't going to be any better because it is what it is.
Right.
So, okay. This is, these are a couple of pieces that I developed when I was teaching, again, painting with yarn. So using lots of different colors and lots of different textures and using them in sort of a free way that doesn't constrain you in any way, that just allows you to enjoy the knitting, enjoy the fibers. They're both constructed from half linen stitch because that is my perfect stitch for painting with yarn. So we have what I call the everything Ruana. And that's because there's about, I don't know, it ranges depending on how much yardage there is. It's about 1,800 yards of yarn. And again, the pattern will do either of these two pieces I'm going to show. Both pieces are in the pattern. So this is the everything Ruana, and it's knit side to side. And you'll notice that it is finished with a corded fringe. You can braid if you don't know how to cord. And the reason for that is you're changing yarn every 2 rows. And let me see, is it every row? No, every row, because there's no shoulder seam. So you're starting at the side edge and knitting up and down. And every row you're changing yarn and you're leaving about an 8-inch tail that you're going to later go on and either braid or twist or just leave, neaten up the ends and trim it. And so you have no ends to bury. Okay, the only time you're doing 2 rows is when you split for the neck and there's a little bit of a back neck here just to make it fit better, just to make it lay better. If it's a straight Ruana where it's simply a slit, funky things start to happen. And again, nice and broad and finished with I-cord on all of the edges. So you are instructed to leave stitches live or to cast on with a scrap yarn. And as far as that goes, everybody asks me this all the time, so I'll just jump in and say it. When I cast on with scrap yarn, I just take something that's a totally wrong color and I cast on with that the way that I'm comfortable casting on, and then I start knitting the other stuff. And later on, I just cut it out. I mean, the idea of trying to make a thing that you can unzip, which never wants to unzip, or it's like, I have made it work. It's more effort to get that right. And the first row that you do in the proper yarn, when you're trying to like knit into a crochet chain or whatever, it's never right. So you do it this way, you know, you're knitting right onto the cast on you always use, and you just carefully cut it out later. It's scrap yarn. So this is the everything Ruana, and this is the everything poncho. Put that up so you can see the way the yarns are working. Now, what I love about the poncho is that, again, it's kind of double-sided. So the colors have been coordinated so it runs through these really deep dark colors, or it runs through these really bright wild colors. And you can, again, if you wish, wear it this way.
That's great.
Yes, it is. It actually is.
Yeah, I love that.
Again, made with the fringes. So you're cutting every row. No, every 2 rows, because you have the selvage here, and it's the fringe is all getting shoved to one side. Yes, I mean, it's really kind of wonderful. And I will bring to your attention that this was made as a straight rectangle. What I do now is I notch the neckline like this. So all my patterns for this now have a notched neckline. So it does that. And what that does, okay, so you get that seam on your shoulder. Now see what happens? You have all this fabric here. And maybe that doesn't bother you. I don't like it. So by notching this, it doesn't, it's not going to be perfect on this because that fabric is there. You get a much cleaner, neater, and you'll see actually in the next couple pieces, a much cleaner, neater edge here. So it's really simple to do that notch. It's strictly, you've gone up, 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 you go in, back, back out, and then up again. So it's just a little notch taken out of there that avoids this weird stuff that happens here.
That's great. And no weaving in ends.
There is not an end to be woven in. This has one seam right there. And I do love how that looks this way, because I think that those colors meeting like that are really cool. This has little side seams, 2 little side seams. That's it. Not even a shoulder seam. So I have unique colorways of these. Now, these unique colorways can all be repeated. So,
and I put the link to the Everything Ruana poncho in the chat room. Let me just do a quick, I'll share the website while you get the customs out. So there's the piece. So what we're going to do with the colors is just when you order this, just, you know, put it in the chat, but then when you order it, put the color number in the, you know, in the comments field.
so one of the things that I have to add about this particular project is that as I'm nearing retirement age, I'm not there yet, don't worry, I'm not leaving y'all yet, but as I'm nearing retirement age, yarns are getting discontinued, I have a lot of things in stock that there's not enough of anymore to do individual sweaters. So rather than trying to sell them in some weird way, like on eBay, or I don't know, but there's probably all kinds of weird ways I could try selling them. Instead of trying to do that, what I'm doing is putting together kits and then discounting them heavily. So this is probably $350 worth of Prism yarns.
Whoa.
That has been discounted to, I think it's $250, Oz, is that right?
Yes, $250. Ooh.
It's a very, very good deal.
Yeah, because I was looking at that mound of yarn going, how can that only be $250?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of my, it's my parting gift, if you will.
Wow. So far, I think I see my color.
Which one?
4. 4, I think is.
Oh yeah, that is. All right, so somehow I've got to get 6 in here.
Yeah, one is very Cambria looking, I think.
I would say that that's right. I've given you a good long time to kind of look at these, so I'm gonna squeeze them a little so I can get 6 in over there. This 3,
Ah.
3, I think would be so elegant.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. The
It's
purple's in
based
there.
on, yeah, it's based on smoke. So while it looks like it's very dark, it actually has a lot of life in it. It's got a lot of purple and plum and gray brown taupe, of course, but that purple and plum really oh, this goes with this.
Laura, I just want to clarify. I answered and then realized I should clarify. The Ruana poncho pattern, does that have the notch in it?
Correct. It is written with the notch.
Okay.
And I think it says if you don't want the notch, just don't do any shaping.
Okay.
No, the pattern's written the way that it should be.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. I answered yes, and then I realized, I should make sure.
It's got the notch in it. Yeah.
Great. Whoa. Well, those are just good. And you're right, that 3, okay, I need at least 2 of them. Oh,
Yeah.
great, Jackie. Great choice. And what color did you wear?
So this can be ordered. I don't have the exact yarns anymore, but I have enough things like it to make something that looks like it. It would just be the model Ruana color.
Okay. So like Jackie, you want number 3, and if anybody wants that, and can we do more than 1 3?
Yes.
Okay, great. So for the folks that want 3, just place the order. I'm making a note that that those are the numbers you want. When you place the order, in the comment fields, put the color number from that poncho that you want. And then we have a request in number 1. Can we get a better look at the colors?
Yes. So I'm going to take number 3 away just to ease the congestion here. And I'm going to switch. I'm just going to push this over here. That was 3. Okay.
And Jackie, that you wanted number 3. So the other number 3, Jane Johnson, I know I have your contact, and I'm not sure, Jackie, if I have, I know I have your email somewhere, but I just don't know which one it is. So you could either send me a private chat, or definitely just place the order and put number 3 in there, and you will definitely get the right one.
So this is the most similar to this. It's got a lot of the gray greens and olive greens in it and plums. It has more blue, and it's missing the really sharp lime green, and it's missing some of the pink. But so it's bluer, while this reads as a little bit grayer, but it's pretty similar.
Great. Trish, did that answer your question? She was not wearing number 2. She was wearing one that isn't one of these colors, but it's most similar to number 1.
Yes.
If you specifically, and my understanding is if you want that color, when you order it, put in model color that Laura was wearing.
Yeah, Ruana. Otherwise you might get
the Ruana, right?
Yeah,
of the Ruana.
Otherwise you might get that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. She says the poncho color.
The same thing. If you say poncho color, yes. And this is unlike anything that was here, because this runs the gamut through all of these colors. But yes, I can definitely do this for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trish, does that help? I hope so. So yes, if you want the poncho model color, when you place the order, just put that in there.
Yep. You good with this?
And I'm making a note about that as well. Any other questions? If I didn't answer your question, let me know. And certainly, you know, after all this is done, you know, we will check our email. And we'll even answer the phone.
Yes, you just have to be bold and persistent.
That's right.
Okay. I'm going to take these down carefully because I have to keep them in their appropriate things here.
That's great, Lisa. So yes, Lisa, for the number one, just place the order on the website and just type in, I want number one. Great. Trish. Number 3.
And by the way, it's 1,800 yards of yarn. So even if it's basically it's instant stash in a color coordination. So even if you didn't want one of those two pieces that I'm showing, what a great way to have instant stash. I mean, you know.
Yeah. And Lisa, so that to answer your question, you get the Ruana and the poncho in the same kit. So when you order color 1, you'll get both patterns. You can just choose whichever one you want to make.
Okay.
Question, does the Ruana pattern include the length?
The length? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like how long the Ruana, I'm assuming that means how long the Ruana gets.
My patterns all have schematics. So absolutely. Okay. All right, we are down to 2 more models, and these are great and incredible fun. The first one actually is called Plume Fun. So if you've ever wanted to have the luxury of a fur, this is how you do it without hurting any animals. Plume is an ultra soft nylon that if you've ever been in the store, you probably have picked it up and gone, oh, you could just like drape this stuff around your neck and be happy. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to actually have a faux fur? So here is one. And I'm going to show you the next one. The interesting thing is that between this one and this one, the sizing is only a needle size change. Right, best laid plans. See, this is much.
Oh, look at that
here, right? Much bigger because it's a one size larger needle. And that was the one I did first. And I looked at it and said, yeah, no, it's not really right. So let me do one on a one size smaller needle. And I do like this one better. It's a better size for me. I could take this off and put it on. It comes down to here. It's generous. At any rate, these do have the notches in the neck. So see how nicely that lays when you don't have that lump of fabric up there. These are so incredible, and they are knit with alternating with a different yarn. So see how they look slightly corrugated? So it's 4 rows of garter stitch plume and then 6 rows of another yarn. And it kind of depends on which model it is, what other yarn gets used with it. The price for the kits, it's all the same, doesn't matter. Same ingredients, does all of these different pieces. So if you're not into ponchos, you can do a large corrugated rib. I mean, you just have to see how fluffy and bouncy this stuff is. A large corrugated rib wrap. So you can be like an old starlet from a B movie in your fur wrap that looks and feels and behaves just like fur, except that it's nylon. And if you try to do what I just did, which is put it over your shoulder like this, it's so slippery it won't stay. So what you have to do is take the outside edge and put that one here. So it's made a fold right here, and then it will stay. And of course, you can then choose to anchor it with something through all the layers. And that's very helpful in keeping, well, yeah, this is really hard to do by yourself when you're looking. By the way, do you know when you look at yourself on Zoom, it's reversed?
Oh yeah.
It's real weird. It's not like looking in the, it's, I don't know. It's just, it's weird. It's very weird. So, so you can certainly do that. And even it's so drapable and sort of pushable that you can even do one of these cuff things.
Oh yeah. Plume is such, it's so soft and you can just get lost in it.
Yeah. So again, yeah, you can. I mean, it's a very dramatic piece. This wouldn't have to be this long if this is how you thought you were going to wear it. But you have that option. There's enough material to do it as big as you want. I mean, just plain tying it like that is great.
Right.
And the fun thing about plume is it's very insulating. I have been shocked to be in New York City with only not thinking, oh, it's January, I need a hat, because hats are the one thing we don't do in Florida. I need a hat. I don't have a hat. Oh, I've got a cowl. I've got a plume cowl. You just pull it up over your ears. And even though, I mean, you can stick your fingers through this. It's not tight knitting, but even so, oh my God, that's it. Your ears are totally comfortably warm. Nanook of the North.
That's it. Let me share the screen.
One last piece.
Oh, yes, of course.
So my friend Brigitte, who is much taller and slenderer than I, she started to make the poncho and decided she didn't really want a poncho, but she thought that it would be just a fabulous vest. So this vest is a little too small for me. It's not laying the way that it should here. But again, corrugated, so you've got rows of plume and then rows of a wool underneath it, and that makes a great sort of après ski or fashion vest. All right, Oz, you can share away.
Okay. Or an everyday in Cambria vest.
There you go.
So there's some, there's some photos of Plume Fun in action. And then you can just go through, there's all these color options. There's a lot of them. And this link is in the chat. So yeah, you can flip through them all.
And I just pulled all the skeins out. If anybody wants to see a specific color, I have them all here in front of me. And I want to explain one thing too. So it's kind of a funny story. So we've had plume for years, and you know, I mean, literally, it's just unbelievable. And it was one of the last yarns that I decided to restock on, and I ordered it, and it took forever to get it. When it finally came in, instead of coming in the 1 pound die skeins that I wanted, that I would then wind down to 2 ounce skeins, they came in 3.5 ounce skeins. Well, now what am I going to do? You know, it's not, they weren't even 4 ounce skeins, so I could like divide it in half. No, they were 3.5 ounce skeins. So I went back to the manufacturer and said, you know, you messed up. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be able to sell a 3.5 ounce skein for the same price as a 2 ounce skein. So they gave me that much discount.
Wow.
So if you get plume, and the quantities for these are adjusted or appropriate, it's appropriate whether you get plume or plume plus. But just in case you ever had plume and then all of a sudden you have plume plus, or say you decided to do this one, and this one has 3 different colors in it, 3 different colors of plume, which we can do. It's 2 skeins each of 3 different colors. It all works out. You're going to have plume plus left over, then you can make a nice little cowl for yourself or something, basically. But the price is the same.
That's great. Yeah, it's a wonderful yarn. It's soft and it's one of those. So we had other fur like yarns in the shop before, and Laura was showing it at one of the trade shows. Laura was showing this, and we said, oh, fur yarns don't go well for us. And her comment, as only Laura could deliver, was, that's because you haven't had mine. And she was exactly right. It's the only fur, and it's the only fur yarn that ever sold, and boy did it sell for us. It's wonderful stuff. If you have it, just having it in the house makes you happy. It's like, for any Star Trek fans, it's like having your very own personal Tribble.
It kind of really is. You could just have a bowl full and just pet it once in a while.
Yeah.
It's really pretty spectacular. So.
Oh, that's great.
So that is great fun.
Great.
And I think what we did was we put these individual colors in. And if you want to do something, so this is just one color. And this is just one color, and these are all just one color. But as I said, this is 3 colors of plume, which is why it looks so much more interesting. And those 3 colors are this, and no, this, and it's not this one, but it's similar to that one. So it's 3 colors. It's actually this, and this. So it's actually those 3 colors blended together. And you know, who would know? They look entirely different when you start doing that, but it's fun. The last time I did this, I had somebody do one in pink and purple and orchid. She did it for her 94-year-old mom, and it made her mom happy. So you can do all kinds of crazy things. Again, a big needle. These are knitting on 10, 10.5, 11. So it's in that range, depending on the piece. And depending on whether you want the bigger one or the smaller one.
That's great. And if if people want to talk about, your own combinations, let us know.
Yes, absolutely. See these white boards behind me? Behind that is the wall of plume. It's full of plume. We can pull them down at the end and just look at plume. No problem.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Okay. Any questions about these? All right, then on to our very last piece, which is kind of related because it's another poncho. This time it is layer stuff. So for anybody who has ever knit with our stuff yarns, you will know that they are 30-ish different textured yarns that have been gauge coordinated that change. I'm pulling an end through that I just saw. there we go, that change as you knit randomly. So it's random lengths of each yarn. So that's what the little bit of blue that you see in there is a skein of Symphony that was added as a stripe. But all those different yarns are in this yarn. This is another rectangular poncho with the notch. So see how nice it fits. And this is what we call layer stuff, which is very interesting. So I make it by tying all these yarns together when they're white. And then it gets 4 different dye baths. It gets 2 dye baths to dye the wools and nylons. And then it gets 2 dye baths to dye the rayons and cottons. And what you're seeing is just the way each yarn takes the dye differently, because they're all being dyed at the same time. I think that is just a wonderful, wonderful, interesting thing. So we have a very trippy, kicky poncho that's trimmed with the plume. So you have that plume around your neck and on your arms, and you can sit, if you're sitting at a meeting, and you can just kind of feel it.
Yeah.
It's in your lap, and it's just like, oh yes, it's like having a cat, or as Oz said, your own personal tribble, just sitting there being wonderful. And as with the others, you can also wear this way, which, you know, just has a different look to it. Some people prefer that to the rectangular poncho. And it's really fun to see where the 2 sides meet, because that's what you have is just one shoulder seam that you sew, where the different things meet, and you can see all the different textures that wind up being in it. So this is stuff with 1 stripe of Symphony every so often, trimmed with plume. And the colors, I think these were all colors that we have on the site. So this is what the kit looks like. It's a couple of skeins of the stuff. It's actually 2.5, and I didn't have another half. So 2.5 skeins of this, and 1 skein of Symphony, and then your plume. So this, I did a class called Neutral is a Color Too. And we talked about ways to energize neutral colors and make them kind of kick them up a notch. And this was one sample that I did. And then a little while later, I was looking at it and I thought, oh my God, that would be so gorgeous. Just to have that deep shale and that pop of, and this is a very, it's on my screen, it looks a little orange, and it's not. It's a very deep cranberry red. So that is a little option that could be done. You just have to inquire about that. And some of the other combinations. This is the lichen. We put it on like this. And again, later I was looking at it, and this is an olive sagey green that has undertones of lavender. So I was looking at it and I thought, oh, look at how nice it is with lavender. So that's certainly an option as well, either of those. And this is a lovely blue-gray with fog. Now this is a multicolored plume, so it's got plums and grays and slate blues in it, and that looks really wonderful with that plummy, purpley. Not looking so great on my screen. So, yeah, it looks better when I get.
Oh, there you go.
Much better. Much better. And the last one is.
And these are on that link
2-1.
that's in the chat.
This is oops, I'm wrong with stuff here. This is juniper, which is a deep tealy blue-green, again with a multicolor. The tamarack is a multicolor, and I just thought that copper would be quite the smashing splash in that. And then this is the most neutral of them all, really. It's indigo, which is a truly blue-black with a matching plume and this deep purple. symphony. So that's all my officialdom.
Oh, that's fabulous. And you know, folks want to see, I put the link in there. But again, there's the you know, there's the stuffed plume poncho. And you can play with these colors that we put up there. So all that's on the website. And then of course, if you have other color ideas, talk to us.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you still have the colors for the Foxy Cowl?
well, let me, oh, I don't know if I have that up there. And we just got a request about the dynamic duo.
Hmm.
Oh, we got a question of what is the model color? Of the poncho that we were just at? Do you mean the model that's on the dress form in the back, or the model that she was wearing?
Or this one?
The one that, yeah, the one you're holding.
So this is Shale.
Okay.
Shale. This is Shale the way it's shown on the website with the Huron.
Great.
And then I was just saying that this could be really stunning as well. But you would have to put that in the comment because if you just say Shale, you're getting it just like this.
Right. Does that help, Ivy? Great. She says yes. And then we had a question about the dynamic duo. Can't knit with black, but want to make a combo.
Sure. This is a great time for that. So you don't want black. Does that mean you want the neutrals and the red? You want it like that? I would say at this point, the person who's making that inquiry could unmute themselves and just talk to us.
Okay.
Yes, red would be fine. I can't see black. If you can
Okay.
make a gray and red or something like that, I love that.
Yeah. Well, give me a moment. Let me just see what I got.
Take your time. Oz, I still have the 7 Mia yarn I bought 2 years ago from you, and I haven't knit it yet.
Oh.
I love looking at it, but I haven't made the vest, and I just, I don't know. I've got a little crazy on stash.
I know that's a fab, and the Mia is now a vintage yarn, because that's Mia went away. That's what my hat that I'm wearing is in Mia. And that was actually our a custom color that Laura made for us.
Okay, I have a couple different options for you. So there's that gorgeous red.
Yes, that's what I liked.
and there is this, which is creams and grays, which would look good with either this as a darker gray, or I kind of like it with this, which is a little bit on the bluer side. It's really still a gray. Hang on. Oh, no, that's not going to show up. Or there's this, which brings in a little, I thought, hang on, I didn't get the right things. Or it was pinned in the wrong side. Entirely possible. So this is not black.
Yeah, that's the charcoal, that I like.
Yeah, it's a charcoal. So you've got that. Actually, this is the closest to what we were looking at with the charcoal instead of the black.
Is that a white with the gray?
White and cream and gray. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So that or this, which has a little bit of plum, real soft plum, taupe gray, and a little bit of kind of a light blue. Or I'm afraid that wouldn't be.
No, I don't like that.
Yes, no?
No, not with the blue.
Okay. So personally, I would say that one.
Okay. I like that. What are we gonna call it so I can order it?
Your name.
All right, I'm Karen.
Okay, Karen, I'm going to put a tag on it right now that says Karen.
Oh, great. And you're going to call it morning? Or does it matter? Yeah, Karen, so if you just order any color and make sure, say this is the Karen color.
Okay,
And Laura and we
Karen.
will know.
Yep.
okay. I'm already signed into my account.
Excellent.
All right. I just come in tomorrow morning and sort it all out.
Right.
I have lots of big work tables here, so it's just going on all the work tables.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I actually do. When you
Great.
had the cream with the gray in that,
Yep.
how much of that gray is going to pop at a time?
So that's going to
Get
look
it.
very
If
much.
you understand the question.
I do. Hang on. It's going to look very much like that does. Okay, so this is the portion of this that is cream and lavender. It's equal amounts of gray and cream, just like this is equal amounts of lavender and cream. So it's going to look like that, only more contrasting because the gray gets darker. Does that make sense? But it's going to give you the overall effect of that.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you hold up the dynamic duo again before we go, please?
The arced one or this?
The arced one.
Arced one, sure thing. So you're talking about one that's a little more contrasty, so it's going to look more like this does.
That's amazing. And if I weren't so damn far away, I'd show up at your warehouse about once a week and just drool.
And you'd be welcome there, Lisa.
Thank you.
And then we got a request to hold up the other dynamic duo. Are both patterns included? And I think the answer to the both patterns is yes.
Yes. Yes. So the other one is they're buried underneath the skeins right now. So the other one is this, which is the straight diagonal scarf, which has all the different pattern stitches in it, and this, and the one that is this is the picture that shows on the pattern. So yes, this and this are both included.
Great. We have a Prism yarn addict. She wants to know how tall you are. She says, I'm 5'9", not sure how to gauge the extra yarn I need to buy for added length to kits. Everything looks fabulous on you. Everything always looks fabulous on Laura. So
I'm only 5'3". I'm a little shorty, but I like to wear my things longer. So feel free to contact Chris and Oz with the specifics of a particular garment. And I will be happy to work with you on what is needed. Most of these, because they use more than one yarn, there's enough yarn left to do additional inches. But I know which ones are on the edge and which ones you'll have plenty.
Great. So yeah, so Jackie, if that makes sense, yeah, if there's particular pieces and you want more length, just let us know and we'll coordinate with Laura. She says, thank you.
So I had to reveal the plume.
That's great.
You can see why
Yeah.
I put the white boards up. It's like all you want to do is look at the plume.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's now a few years ago, but we had the pleasure of wandering through the warehouse and the studio. It was pretty cool. It was very cool. And it wasn't 110 because it wasn't August, so that's a good thing.
It actually, do you know we have never broken 3 digits here?
Ever. Wow. Yeah, because it's all water.
Right, we're a peninsula.
Yeah. So Nancy had a question about the half linen stitch. Nancy, if you want to contact us, she wanted to know what the half linen stitch is.
Okay, it's pretty easy to describe. It's a slip stitch, and you are on the knit sides. You are knitting one, putting the yarn forward, slipping one, putting the yarn back. That makes the little bar across the front that makes it look like fabric, which is why it's called a linen stitch, because it looks like fabric. But on the purl side, you just purl back. So you only have to be doing that on the knit row. And I will say that if you hate doing ribbing, you probably won't like doing the stitch. If you're a continental knitter, it's not going to bother you in the least.
And then we would like to revisit the chroma poncho.
You betcha.
And Nancy, if you're still stuck, contact us. You know we're here because we know where you live, so you can always bop in. Chris can work with you on the half linen stitch as well.
Okay, so what would we like to revisit about it? Do you want to talk about other colorways?
Right, Claudia, what would you like to know about the chroma poncho? And if it'll be easier for you to unmute to ask your question, go right ahead. Claudia wants to know about colors.
Oz, do you have I don't remember. Do you have the chroma colors?
I do.
Okay, so somewhere on the site are the chroma colors.
And I can show those as we speak.
Okay, so in either chroma or chroma noir, you can pick any 7 colors in a row. You can start with any color and end with any color. So these are there's 15 colors in each section. So these are the lighter colors, the chroma.
In a couple of different yarns.
And here we go. Now we're into the chroma noir.
Nope.
Oh, that's still chroma?
That's still chroma.
Okay. See, there you go. The little, actually just the little rose kind of shows it. All 15 colors in a row. You can pick any portion of it. You can start and end with any color. There's 7 colors.
And then the chroma noir.
And the chroma noir are the deeper colors. That's what this is. So this one starts with blueberry, goes from blueberry to mulberry. I'm sorry, from blueberry to pansy to mulberry to wine sap to copper to sienna to ochre. But if you want to do something totally off the wall, just tell me what you'd like. I mean, we could do more jewel tone the way that, so if these are chroma colors, you know, these are layers colors. These are more jewel tones. So we could do layers colors. we could also do neutrals. See the difference between, actually, you can best see it here. All right. See the difference between these purples and blues and these that are much more jewel toned. So these are layers colors, these are chroma colors. And so we can do it in layers colors. We can do it in neutral. We can do it in blues that go light to dark. I mean, there are a lot of different ways that we can do it. What are you interested in?
So yeah, Claudia, is there a color direction you want to go in? And then Karen, I'll ask your question of her
Oh,
next.
am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted now.
Okay. I like the one she wore. I like that one. So I think I just needed to know how many skeins does it take? Is it
Yeah.
7?
It's 7.
Yes.
You can just, I mean, if you ordered Firelight, the kit will come.
Okay.
And
And
it's those 7 colors.
it's one size fits all.
Yep.
Okay, Firelight. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, it's one size fits most. You know, I will
Yeah.
say if,
Right.
if you are, if you are, well, one size fits most, I would say up to a 2X. If you are larger than that, then we might want to talk about adding another color
Okay,
and
okay.
making it bigger.
Thank you. I just
Claudia,
think
you'll
that's
be
beautiful.
fine.
It is
Okay,
it's
thanks.
a great piece. It's a great piece, and it suits a wide variety of shapes.
Right. Okay, thank you. It's beautiful.
Claudia is a fabulous artist that lives here in town.
Well,
Oh,
wonderful.
thank you, Oz.
We have
Yeah,
that. That's even better because we can really hold your hand through it.
that's right.
It looks like a color wheel. Maybe that's why I was attracted to it.
It does. I mean, so Claudia, that's what I did. I set out to design the 15 colors. So the primaries,
Yeah.
the secondaries, and the tertiaries, but in fashion colors, not in spectral colors.
Right.
So,
Wonderful.
and that's why there's chroma and chroma noir. So anything in the chroma line is the right value. I'm trained as an artist as well. So anything in the chroma line is the equivalent values or weights. So they visually go together, and anything in the chroma noir line, same thing. They're a much deeper tone so that they're going to go together without giving you you know what happens if you're an art, every artist knows what happens when you get too much value contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it just goes back to that wonderful stacked cowl I love. It's my favorite scarf. I wear it all the time.
There you
It's just
go.
magnificent. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a question, and I think and I bet I can answer this. The question was, if I started with Huron and ended with copper in chroma noir, will that look good in the chroma poncho? And I'm looking at it going, yes, it will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I can show you exactly what it would look like. Hang on, let me get some of this out of here.
And then
So-
Karen, we really will get to your question.
I'm cutting it at copper, and I'm going to go get a skein of Blue Jay and Huron so you can see how they work in.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's the power of when she introduced that chroma and then the chroma noir, that was the fun part. It took so much guesswork out of, will these colors work together, that if you just, if the goal is to, yeah, look at that.
Gorgeous.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So yes, and that was what Oz just said. That was the point of it. It's like people don't know how to, they don't know what to do. They don't, and most color classes, they'll talk to you about the color wheel. They don't talk to you about that intensity of color or the value of the color and how important that is. And when we're knitting, we're really making color stories most often, sometimes pattern stories, and sometimes it's a combination. I mean, this is, but this is more of a pattern story versus this one, which is more of a color story, right? When you look at this, it's the first thing that comes to mind is not the pattern, But when you look at this, the first thing that comes to mind isn't the colors. It's the pattern. And that's a tough concept. So yes, this was designed so that you don't have to think about it. And absolutely that would work.
Yeah, that's
So all you
great.
have to do is say, start with Huron, end with copper.
Yes, I can tell you when Laura first did, when we were so fortunate that Laura spent a weekend with us a few years ago, and she did her abbreviated color class. And after many, many years working in color, my head exploded. And then Chris and I actually went down to Florida. She was teaching at the art museum thing down there in St. Pete. And we took a 4-day intensive color class. We had homework and everything. It was unbelievable. I looked at color a completely new way, in a much broader way, I should say. It was just great. So when Laura talks about color, listen. So the other question, one of the folks on here bought 7 balls of Mia, the late great Mia, which is what my hat is made out of. Can she do the chroma poncho from 7 balls of Mia?
Well, I'm guessing so. You're going to have to, it's a totally different gauge.
Yeah.
Needle
I'm
size.
really good at figuring out gauge. I teach knitting. So
Okay.
that's not a problem. I'm just wondering whether it will hang right. And
Yeah, yes. It's not gonna have quite the same drape, but I wouldn't hesitate to do that.
okay. And I'm really tiny. I'm also 5'3" and 108 pounds. So
Well, you're way tinier than me because I
yeah,
got
so I don't need it to be big. I just want to know whether it would work.
but yes, yes, you'll be fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
Keep an eye on the lengths of it. You don't need any more than 7 Mia skeins.
Okay,
These
that's
are
all I
2 ounce
needed to know.
skeins. These are 2-ounce skeins. Mia was 2-ounce skeins. So yeah, you're going to be fine. It's going to be thinner, finer fabric, which is fine.
Well, I also live in Florida, so it doesn't need to be heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm
You'll-
not sure I want the turtleneck because I don't like things on my neck.
Okay. Well, you're definitely going to have enough then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. And we got a question, and I bet I could answer this, but I'm certainly going to defer to you. We got the question of instead of starting with Huron and ending with copper, if it's reversed. And her question was she'd like the darker colors around her bigger portions.
Yep, that's absolutely fine. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I did it this way because it was not the normal thing to do, but it's the same amount of yarn either way. So it makes no difference. You can start wherever you want to. And frankly, hang on.
Yeah, that's that great. We use color to say hide the parts of ourselves that maybe we don't want to broadcast so well.
So, you can also get rid of the lighter color and go to there. And you can get rid of that color
Right, just keep going.
there. So this is actually getting this may be Blue Bayou. This may be what the other one is, the alternate colorway. That's shown on the website.
Right. Look at that one, blue. Yes, it is.
But I think it goes the neck here to the bottom here.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So yes, you absolutely can do. Yes, you can.
That's right.
Well, absolutely.
That's right. Laura is not going to come around and tell you you can't do that.
Well, no, it particularly with the chroma colors, because they really are intended to be so seamless.
Yeah. That's awesome. Any other questions, comments? And yeah, and like I said, give us a couple of days to get the video together. That seems like everything.
Okay, so if you picked one of the unique kits that we had here today, those will ship out probably Tuesday. I need a day to recover everything and get everything together. And if you order other things from the website, if I have to dye something, depending on what it is, it's possible that it could take up to 3 weeks, but most likely it'll go out within the next week and a half.
Great. And I'm sure you'd let us know if anything goes through, if it's going to be longer.
Yes.
Yeah. And however long it takes, trust us, it's always worth the wait. Her stuff is just, just spectacular. So yes, so thank you all so much for joining us. Great. Great. Karen's already got the pattern. She's ready to go. Thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And a huge, huge thank you to Laura for taking the time, for joining us here on, for breaking up her Sunday when she could be out on the boat or doing something even more fun. Though what could be more fun than playing with color and beautiful fiber? And the answer is nothing.
Not anything else.
Not much else anyway.
Playing with color and beautiful fiber on the boat, maybe.
Yeah, there's always
Okay.
that.